A ship will find us soon, Emma. Lots of ships in the Mediterranean.
Bolton, bring out the royals.
Aye, sir. Onedin, yours still off.
Fall away again, Captain Bay.
I know. I got eyes in my head. Helmsman, watch your course.
I reckon we should log up 200 today. Should see the rock within the week if this wind holds.
It's freshening. Don't you think it'd be a mite too cold for Mrs. Onedin?
Sea air never did anybody any harm. In fact, I told her it would do her good.
Bit liverish this morning?
We lost 3 days putting into port side.
Oh, not still on about that, are you?
Well, I've been working it out. Port dues, towage charges, and pilotage. We'll see no change out of £50.
Well, what of it? It's my money.
Some of it.
Oh, I see. Now that you've got a few shares in the ship, you... Well, I'll pay for it out of my own pocket.
Right.
Right. And take the profit.
Profit?
Mm-hmm.
What profit?
I picked up a contract. Transporting horses for the army.
Well, the steamship trade.
Yes. And Sister Elizabeth will offer me no less than £500 for it. Yes, I think I'll join Letty.
Perhaps she found the atmosphere a bit too sharp.
Here you are, ma'am. I've put a bit of rum in it.
Oh, thank you, Croker.
You want to watch that wind? Easy to go down with the pneumonia or the influenza.
I think I'll survive, Croker.
Well, it's a killer, that old influenza. Sir.
I see Thomas Cook and Son are sending a steamer up the Nile at their own expense.
That'll cost him a bob or two.
Do you think General Gordon will be rescued, James?
Of course he will. I heard that he can hang on in Khartoum for at least 6 months.
Good.
Still enjoying the voyage?
Oh? Oh, yes. Yes.
Still, I shan't be sorry to get home. I mean, we've been away for 6 months. Oh, I'm so looking forward to moving into the new house, James. Our own little villa, just for the two of us. Well, aren't you?
Oh, aye.
Anyway, I don't think I'm really cut out to be a lady of leisure. Though there's little to do at home, and, well, the factory more or less runs itself now.
But you are still enjoying it.
Some of it. Well, most of it, really. Only...
Right. Next time we'll go somewhere warmer. South Africa. Now, you've never been there.
James?
Hmm?
No. Look, don't you see, when you're aboard ship, there's always something for you to do, but, well, I feel I'm just frittering my time away. Oh, it's pleasant enough. And some of it I do enjoy.
But it's not enough.
No.
I see.
Load on the
Look,
starboard
James,
bow!
in the 2 years since Charlotte married, I've been away with you 3 times. I've tried sharing your life. Really, I have. Don't you think you could try sharing mine?
Thought you said you had naught to do.
Well, I'm sure we could find something to share together.
Like what?
Oh, damn it, James, I don't know.
There you are, you see.
Sometimes you can be so pig-headed. hard-headed and selfish.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. Always what you want. Take the house, for instance. You knew I wanted somewhere smaller now that we're on our own.
Well, I agreed to move, didn't I?
Yes, in the end. And I expect I shall be left to furnish it on my own. Oh, now that's something we could do together, James.
Right, if that's what you want. I'll spend a couple of months ashore, get the place shipshape.
You mean that?
Oh. Changing course.
Captain's compliments, sir. He wondered if you'd come up on deck.
Right, coming right away.
What is it, Croker?
A couple of people in a small boat. Nearly dead, I shouldn't wonder.
Go up, Missy. Climb.
Give her a hand, Dutchy.
Watch out she don't fall. Come on there.
I'll take that, sir. No, I'll carry it, thank you.
I'll take her below. My father?
Don't you worry, miss. He'll be with you directly.
Yeah, give me that bag.
No, I can manage, I do assure you.
Jimmy, take that damn bag for him before he breaks his neck. The leg. Right, now, come on.
Thank you, sir.
Careful now. There we are. Right, here we are.
Dawson is the name, sir. Professor Eustace Dawson.
James and Ada. Yeah. Better get you below.
Deeply indebted, you say? Deeply indebted?
Oh, I wouldn't have minded being cast adrift with that wee lassie.
Right, lads, the peep show's over. Let's get on the way.
Letty! Get me a blanket, will you? Thing is to get them warm. Oh, Croker. Tell Cook to get us some hot food.
2 days. Sorry to cause you so much trouble, but...
Oh, that's no trouble. It'll be quite safe.
Tell me one thing, sir. Where are you bound?
Liverpool.
England. Thank heavens for that.
Out of the Parliament, blown up. Read all about it. Explosion, House of Commons.
But are you absolutely sure those telegrams were sent? Well, 2 were addressed to the House of Commons and 1 to... Yes, that is correct, Smith Square. And all of them to Sir Daniel Fogarty, MP. Well, in that case, why haven't I had a reply? Look, will you ask the telegraph boys to keep on calling, please? Good day.
Elizabeth, I'm absolutely sure there's no need for you to go rushing off to London like this.
There is every need, Sarah.
All it says in the newspaper is that there was an explosion at the House of Commons causing extensive damage. No mention of anyone being injured.
Exactly. If no one had been injured, they would have made a point of mentioning it.
I think you're worrying unduly.
No, Sarah, my mind is quite made up. Besides, I haven't seen Daniel for at least 3 months. And it's high time we spent a few days together. Now, Samuel, you will carry out all my instructions to Mr. Dunwoody, won't you?
Yes. Now, try to put the business out of your mind. And don't worry.
Sarah.
Give our love to Daniel. Tell him not to work too hard.
Samuel?
Ring the bell, would you, dear? I think I'd like some tea before we go.
I do hope Uncle Daniel is all right.
They say in the newspaper that the explosion was probably the work of the Fenians.
They want their country back, Mother. I don't approve of their methods, but I do understand their reasons.
Samuel, I hope you don't voice those sentiments in public. Oh, Mary, may we have some tea, please? You know, I think it's strange, Daniel not coming home for Christmas.
Nothing strange about it, Mother. He was chosen by Mr. Gladstone himself to report on the Sudan, so he could hardly be over there and in Liverpool at the same time, now could he?
Well, I hope that was the reason. You know, in the 2 years he's been in Parliament, he's hardly been home at all. I hope there's nothing wrong between those two.
Why should you say that?
I don't know. How's Charlotte?
Oh, fine. Yes, she's fine.
I hardly see anything of her these days either. You must get her to visit me, Samuel, and bring the children.
They do rather tie her to the house, you see, Mother.
Oh, what nonsense. She's got a nanny for Robert, a nurse for Anne, and a carriage at her constant disposal. You spoil her, you know.
Oh, I can afford it.
I'm not just talking about money matters. You give way to her in so many ways. Take this business of the christening of Anne.
Mother, we both agreed to wait until Uncle James and Aunt Letty had returned.
By which time that child will be nearly 5 months old. Now, if anything should happen
Mother, will
to
you
her...
just please allow me to run my own life?
I'm sorry, Samuel. I was only thinking of the child. And there's no need for you to lose your temper with me simply because all is not well between you and Charlotte.
Mother, I did not say that.
You didn't need to. But if you don't want to talk about it, far be it from me to interfere.
Oh, how are you feeling?
Oh, much better, thank you.
Well, you slept the clock around. Did you feel able to take some dinner?
Oh, thank you.
Right, half an hour.
Yes,
He seems a pleasant man.
yes.
Are you going to tell him the truth, Father?
But of course.
I meant about what you have in there.
Oh, I don't think we need mention this, do you?
Hark what out, Dutchy. You're knocking your damned weevils into me tea.
Good. Make the taste better, yeah?
Starboard watch! Starboard watch, turn out!
All right, away we are. Move! Talk, Billy.
Sam!
That's yours, Mac. Here, Jimmy. Best I could do. There'll be more pickings by the time you come off watch.
You, get food for me, yeah?
Of course I will, Dutchy, as soon as I can.
Come on then. What's her name?
Oh, Emma. Emma Dawson.
Emma. Emma, that's a grand name for a lassie. Because she's a bit on the wee side for you, Mac, but I'd shape up just fine.
And what do you wish? Do you know how they came to be out there in that boat?
Not yet, but I'll find out.
Hey, you do that? Because I'm curious.
You got one of his black moods coming on again?
Aye, just tread careful. Here, you finish it.
This Professor Maspero sounds an absolute tyrant.
Oh, no. Tyrant is far too harsh a description, Mrs. Onedin, but he certainly does rule Luxor with a rod of iron. You see, he firmly believes that he is the only authority on Amenhotep.
Amenhotep.
Amenhotep III, the 9th pharaoh of the 18th dynasty.
Oh, that one.
Well, the trouble was that Maspero refused to admit that I was the greater authority.
Professor, you had started off by telling us how you and your daughter came to be adrift in an open boat.
Yes, well, I'm sorry, but I felt it important you should know something of the background.
James, why not let Professor Dawson tell the story in his own way?
Yes. Well, after Professor Maspero went down to Cairo, I authorized digging to begin to one side of the temple, where I firmly believed we would discover a small burial chamber. Now, this was a point on which we had constantly disagreed. However, to my utter joy, we did discover this chamber. However, when Professor Maspero returned from Cairo, he flew into a temper, claiming that the discovery was of no significance whatsoever, and that I was deliberately undermining his authority. Then he just took our papers away, sent a note to the ambassador, and sent for the police.
Poor Emma, you must have been terrified.
I was.
But obviously you managed to get away.
Yes, we made our way downriver with the thought of taking ship from Port Said. But when we arrived, we found the police were already looking for us.
Almost as if we were criminals.
Yes. Well, I didn't know what to do. Then we chanced upon this Greek who offered to help us. For a large sum of money, he took us aboard a dhow bound for Crete, deck passengers. He took us aboard at dead of night, shortly before the vessel sailed. Well, it wasn't until first light that we realized our fellow passengers were all lepers.
Obviously, you were heading for the leper colony, Retina.
Yes.
Get on your work.
Look, I know what you must be thinking, but I can assure you we had no contact with those lepers.
No contact. But you were on the same boat together.
Yes, but when he saw who we were, the captain roped off a portion of the deck for our sole use.
All the same.
And that night, when we were close to the coast of Crete, the captain put us ashore on a deserted stretch of the coast, It took a fair amount of gold to persuade him.
What, didn't you go to the British consul? Or even the police?
Yes, but you must remember we had no papers to prove our identity. And for all we knew, the captain could have informed the authorities that we'd escaped. Well, later that night, we came across this fishing boat. Well, I hate to say, but the temptation was too much, and I stole it. I know nothing about sailing, and so we just drifted for 2 days.
And then we picked you up.
Yes. Look, I do promise you there's nothing to worry about.
It's so hot in here. Would you mind if I went on deck for a breath of air, Father?
I'll come with you, my dear. If that is in order, Captain Baines.
It's a calm enough night.
Yes. Well, if you'll excuse us both.
Good night. Good night, Ellen. Professor.
Good night.
Terrible experience for them to go through.
Aye. If it's true.
James?
Only got their word for it.
Croker,
Captain?
if you breathe a word of what you heard in here tonight,
Not me, Captain.
and you better mean that, because if I hear anyone else mention the word leprosy, I'll know you've gagged. And I'll personally make sure you never work another ship again. Now, do I make myself clear?
Aye, Captain.
Right, then off you go.
A bit sharp with Croker, weren't you, Captain Baines?
Mrs. Onedin, if the word got out that those two have been in contact with lepers, we'd had a mutiny on our hands before we could say knife.
Surely not.
Letty, for a start, no court would give us entry. The best we can hope for is 6 weeks quarantine. So, just forget that you ever heard the word leprosy.
Hey, Croker, you'd bestir yourself. Mac's looking for you. You promised him some of the pickings.
Food! Betis.
Now look, Dutchy.
You give it to Jimmy, yeah?
Let him be.
He promised me good food.
Now you listen to me, Dutchy. Any pickings from Captain's table, and I say who gets them. Do you understand?
One day, I settle you.
Mac, there was nothing left. It were all bones. Look, I'll get you a bit of bacon for breakfast. How's that?
Right. And none for Dutchy.
Right.
Did you find out what happened?
About Professor Dawson and his daughter, you mean?
Ah, who else? Mac reckons he knows how they got here.
Oh, how?
He reckons they went for an afternoon sail and just drifted out to sea.
Well, I'm damned. How did you know that, Mac?
Did I not tell you, Jimmy?
I feel be in a good mood now.
Jimmy,
Aye.
do you know anything about leprosy?
Why?
Oh, they were just talking, that's all. About some poor devils that they'd seen out east. I was just curious, that's all.
The only thing I know is, if I had leprosy, I'd put a bullet through my head. Double quick.
Daniel, I do so enjoy the Cafe Royal. Everyone there's such fun.
Am I fun, Angela?
Well, you're much more than that, Daniel. You're wicked as well.
Well, if memory serves correctly, you can be pretty wicked yourself when you try.
Tonight, I don't even have to try.
Whoa! Whoa!
Are we here, driver?
Yes, Mum. This is Smith Square.
Don't be long, Daniel.
Oh, Daniel, thank heavens you're all right. I had the most dreadful train journey, imagining all the terrible things that might have happened to you. But here you are, safe and sound.
Yes. The explosion, you mean?
Well, of course. Didn't you get my telegrams? I've been quite frantic with worry.
Yes, well, you see, I've been out most of the day. Elizabeth, I've had a marvelous idea. Why don't we find a quiet restaurant where we can relax and have supper? Now, we haven't done that for a long time, have we?
Daniel, as impulsive as ever. Very well. Here, your bow's come undone. Let me tie it for you. Who does that cape belong to?
What?
I've been waiting for you to unlace my... Oh, you...
Too damn slow, Jimmy, huh?
No, that's it. I felt a bit giddy, that's all.
I like a woman, yeah? Come on.
Fine ship this, Onedin. The name like Christian Radic, surely she was built in Scandinavia.
Aye, the previous owner was a Norwegian.
Tell me, does your wife often travel with you?
Occasionally.
My wife used to accompany me to all the diggings. She was a great helpmate. God rest her soul. Only wish she'd lived to share in my triumph.
Oh. What triumph was that?
Well, my discovery of the chamber. I told you about it last night, remember? Quite unique. And not only the chamber itself, but what I found. Yes, of course, I can only reveal that to the Royal Society. But you'll read all about it in the newspapers.
So, you're to become famous, eh?
Yes, I suppose I will be. But you know, of far greater importance is the fact that at long last I shall be acclaimed by my peers.
So, how's your daughter this morning?
She seems to have a bit of a temperature. Oh, she's probably caught a chill. Anyway, your wife said she'd look in on her.
Did she, by heck?
How long have you had this rash, Emma?
I first noticed it last night.
Good morning. Your father tells me you're not feeling well.
Oh, she has rather a high temperature, James, and then there's this rash.
Betty, would you come outside, please?
What?
Outside. Well, now.
Excuse me just a moment, Emma. James, how dare you talk to me like that in front of...
You don't sit there.
How is my daughter?
Professor, would you come into the cabin, please? Stay there, Betty. Professor, would you mind opening your shirt, please?
Look, Onedin, I know it's in your mind, but...
As I say.
Father, please.
Oh, very well.
Down How long have you had this temperature?
I'd hardly call it that. Look, it's stuffy down here. That's why I went up on deck.
I see. Professor, I hope you don't mind if I ask you and your daughter to stay in the cabin.
For how long?
I don't know, at least until the rash disappears.
But that could be days cooped up in here. Look, Onedin, I think you're being very unreasonable. Whatever my daughter has, it certainly isn't leprosy.
No, no need to frighten. Look, all I'm saying is that whatever it is you have got could be contagious. I want you to remain in isolation.
Yes, I understand. He's right, Emma. It could be scarlet fever, measles, anything. Wouldn't be fair to pass it on, would it?
James, you can't do that.
I have to, for the sake of everybody on board this ship. That cabin door's going to be locked, and I'm keeping the key.
But you're locking them up like criminals, like animals, and all because of a rash. It could be anything.
Aye, and it could be one thing in particular.
Mr. Oneden's right, ma'am. Best take no chances. After all, we do know that they've been in the company of lepers.
Fear. You're both acting out of blind fear. Don't you think that poor girl has been through enough?
Letty, do you see this? Well, this is the ship's captain's medical guide. Now, anything to do with medicine, and this is his Bible. Tells him all sorts of things. How to set a broken leg, or stitch up a wound, take out a tooth. Even tells him how to deliver a baby. Scurvy, lice. But it says damn all about diagnosing leprosy. Now, I know because I have read this from cover to cover.
All you're saying is that you don't know.
Well, what am I to do? Pretend they haven't been in contact with lepers? Damn it, I don't even know if it's contagious or not. That's how little I know. And I'm not taking any chances.
Why don't you lie down, Father? Try to rest.
No, I'm quite all right, my child.
Nobody's going to steal it, you know.
I suppose not. Obviously don't trust us.
I'm sorry, James. You were right, I was wrong.
The master's always right, even when he's wrong.
Don't tease.
I'm not. As master under God.
What's his official description?
Everything is his responsibility.
Aye.
How long before we reach Liverpool?
8, 10 days.
Have you heard when Uncle James and Aunt Letty are due home yet?
Sometime this month, I believe.
I understand they've bought a new house near here.
Yes.
You'll be neighbours.
Yes.
I suggested to Charlotte that we might move out here. Far better for the children, of course.
Samuel.
Yes.
Well, you did say you wanted to see me about something, and I assumed it was important.
Yes, it was, very. The fact of the matter is, I've had a letter.
Oh?
From William. He says he's returning home shortly.
When is he coming home?
He didn't say. Has he not written to you?
Well, the last letter I had was about 2 months ago from Italy.
Ah, he wrote to me from Nice. And that was 10 days ago.
So he could be home any time.
Yes, and that's the problem, you see. He asked if he might call and see his son, Robert. Of course, I gave the matter due consideration. But I had to take into account Charlotte's feelings. There's no sense in opening up old wounds. So I wrote to William refusing his request.
I see. You did explain your reasons, I imagine.
No, Aunt Elizabeth, I don't owe William anything, and I certainly don't have to explain my actions to him after the way that he behaved.
Does Charlotte agree with your decision?
Oh, Charlotte knows nothing of the letter, no. My reason for calling was to explain the situation to you and to ask you to persuade him not to pursue the matter further.
Well, I don't know that I can do that, Samuel.
Aunt Elizabeth, my house is barred to William. And the sooner he realizes this, the better for all concerned.
Well, I can understand your concern, but he's over 21, and I really don't...
Uncle Daniel, I didn't know you were coming home.
Hello, Samuel.
How's Westminster?
You were just going...
Yes, of course, Aunt Elizabeth. Daniel?
Get out of my house.
My house, Elizabeth.
How dare you show your face here?
Elizabeth, I'd hoped that after a week you might have calmed down and we could talk sensibly.
A week, yes. A week without so much as a word from you. Oh, was that supposed to be part of my punishment for daring to discover your sordid little
It was
affair?
not an affair. We'd met at a party. Now she's Lord Taplow's daughter.
I don't give a damn who she is.
We'd had a lot to drink. The situation simply got out of hand.
Well, from the little I saw, I would have said you had the situation very much in hand. I'm sorry I was so inconsiderate to spoil things for you.
Elizabeth, in the past year, I've hardly seen you.
Oh, I see. You're saying the cause of your unfaithfulness is my doing.
I'm simply saying that had we seen more of one another, this would never have happened.
And yet, knowing all this, you chose to go off to the Sudan.
I didn't choose. The Prime Minister asked me to go. Now, I'm simply trying to say that our separation has contributed. Well, damn it, Elizabeth, I'm not a monk, I'm a man.
And that excuses everything, does it? I'm a man. Had I taken a lover, Daniel, would you have accepted such an excuse from me? I'm not a nun, I'm a woman.
Oh, don't be so childish. You know full well it's different for a man.
Not in the eyes of the law.
What do you mean?
Adultery, Daniel. It applies equally to both husband and wife. As grounds for divorce.
Pay off her head, man. She's still overpressed. We're in for a bit of a blow, ma'am. You'll be better off below.
I'm quite all right, thank you, Captain Baines.
You two, you're slacking. Put your backs into it.
Come on, Betsy. I thought you were supposed to be strong. Easy. I like to do all the work myself.
You damn sing, so, yeah?
Bosun, take the names of those two swabs and get that damn sheet in double quick.
Captain Baines, this man's hand.
You there, find the carpenter and get those fingers into some hot tar.
I so.
Tar? Captain Baines, he needs a proper dressing on.
This is Onedin. Will you kindly allow me to run this ship? Come away, Letty. Do as you're told.
Letty, you really must not interfere with the running of the ship.
Simply trying to show some compassion.
Look, sailors are used to taking knocks.
James, Captain Baines told that poor man to put his fingers into boiling tar. It's absolutely barbarous. I would never
pipe
have been...
down and sit down, will you, for a moment? He said hot tar, not boiling, just warm enough to seal the wound and purify it. It's an old remedy, and it works.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes, what do you want?
I've got the food ready for them, too.
Aye, I'll be with you in a minute. Now, you just stay there, Letty, till this blows over.
What happened, Jimmy? Are you sure it was an accident?
I must have slipped or something. Isn't that right, Betsy?
Yeah, you slipped. You want tea?
No. No. I'm too hot. Good God, man, you're burning up. Here, best strip off. How long have you had this fever?
Nearly a week.
Perhaps Professor Maspero was right after all, Father.
About what?
That.
Now, we don't believe in that mumbo-jumbo, do we?
I don't want to die, Father.
Now, what kind of talk is that? Hmm?
Any sign of a rash appearing yet, Professor?
No.
Good. Temperature?
Normal. Look, it's Emma I'm worried about. Surely you must have something to bring her temperature down.
I've told you. I've given you everything in the medicine chest. There's nothing else. All right, Croker, I'll take that.
You still think it might be leprosy, don't you?
Keep your voice down, man. I've told you. I just don't know.
I'm sure it isn't. God, I hope not. Oh. Thank you.
No point in you being cooped up here. No. I'll get the door unlocked and give you a chance to stretch your legs, only when there's nobody about, mind you.
Thank you. Can you take a little food, Emma?
can feel its presence. Get rid of it, please.
Oh, Emma. You don't know what you're asking. It's nothing to do with that. Believe me.
What the hell are you doing here, missus?
I came to see if the injured man
You're
needed...
not wanted here, lady.
Letty.
Captain Onedin, your leg is
All
not
right,
wanted.
all right. Leave it at that. Come on, Letty. Now.
Why didn't you ask Mr. Onedin to look at his hands?
Because Jimmy's looked after me since I was a bairn. That's why.
Suffering from shock he is. Having his fingernails torn out.
That shock be damned. It's this fever I'm worried about.
Fever?
Aye. He's burning up.
Letty, will you get it into your head that the forecastle belongs to the men, just as the saloon belongs to us? Those are their quarters, and they are private.
Not a child, James. I understand perfectly now. But don't you change the subject. I was talking about the dreadful conditions they live under. They're crammed in like animals. The place is running with water, the air is foul, there's hardly any light.
Oh, I'll fit 'em cabins, shall I? Build 'em bathrooms. Yes, I might even leave 'em a settee to lounge around in. Of course, there won't be any room for the cargo, but what does that
Oh,
matter?
now you're being ridiculous. All I'm suggesting is that you provide your men with better living quarters.
Letty, you are poking your nose into something that you do not understand. I feed 'em well. I pay 'em good wages. Of course, if you want to become the great reformer, why not start with your own factory, eh?
What?
Aye, why not? Just look at the conditions that your women work under before you start preaching to me.
Very well. I will.
Hmm.
Now, if you don't mind, James, I think I'll go to the cabin.
As you please.
Nasty little squall, that, while it lasted.
Aye.
Rooker, are you telling me that those two are lepers?
No! Well, there might be.
Might! Now, what kind of talk's that? Listen, poor Jimmy's got the same thing as what they have. Is that not right?
Aye.
Aye! And they damn well gave it to him.
At any rate, he ought to be in quarantine, the same as the other two.
Captain, should not bring them on ship.
Aye, you're right, Dutchy.
Should have left them in a little boat.
Aye. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be put back in a wee boat.
Aye.
Fetching their diseases aboard. I reckon we need a deputation, lads. Tell Captain Baines to cast those two adrift. Then maybe we'll sleep easy in our beds.
Look, I only said they might be.
Stop your blithering and watch, Jimmy. Right! Who's bid for the captain?
Aye, all women! I go with you, Mark.
Right, Dutchy. You bring that with you.
King's son. Killing him. No. Must live. Forever. No. I don't want to die. No. It's hard.
Another 18 hours, we'll have Wolf Rock on a starboard beam.
Could call into Falmouth, I suppose. That girl does need a doctor.
Yeah, they put us into quarantine, and that's for sure.
Can't be helped.
I didn't hear no one tell you to come in.
Deputation, Captain.
With a belaying pin?
Look, I'll find it on the deck. I'll put it back later.
Right, now speak your piece.
Right. Now, those two passengers, we want them off this ship.
You do you?
Aye. They've got leprosy.
Who told you that?
It doesn't matter. Now, what does matter is my wee pal Jimmy's got it.
Any sickness in the forecastle, and I should have been told.
Damn your rules and regulations, Captain. Now, Jimmy's sick and we want those two off this ship now.
You're out of line, mister. Now you just listen to me.
No! You listen! Now, if you don't get those two off this ship, then we damn well will. Oh!
I wouldn't do that if I was you. Oh, get him back to the forecastle.
Come. I'll be along to see Jimmy. But put him in a cabin of his own. Now we'll have to put into Falmouth.
And into quarantine.
The fever's broken.
I had the strangest dream.
I know.
You've got rid of it, haven't you?
Yes.
Well?
Thank heavens. Emma's rash has almost disappeared.
Yes, it was quite incredible. Unbelievable. Within minutes of my throwing that casket overboard, Emma's temperature began to fall.
Do sit down, Captain.
Professor, what was in this casket?
Something quite unique. You see, the casket was the sole content of that chamber I had discovered. And when Professor Marsborough told me that if I attempted to take it out of the country, I would be cursed, well, I simply assumed he was being overly melodramatic. Now I'm not so sure.
What was in the casket?
The mummified head of a small boy. Possibly a son of Amenhotep. Probably the child had been murdered, who can say? But the actual state of preservation was quite amazing. To have been able to present that to the nation...
Professor Dawson, when we talk, I shall ask for a clean bill of health.
But what of that poor unfortunate sailor who...
Died of influenza. That's what I've entered in the log.
You mean you'll not even mention leprosy?
Oh, if we did that, we'd have to mention every disease that it could have been.
More sailors die of influenza each year than I've had hot dinners, and that's what I reckon he died of.
If only I had thrown it overboard earlier. Perhaps that would have saved him.
Only if you believe in all that mumbo-jumbo.
Dodgy.
Where you staying, Mac?
I don't know.
Me, I stay Mark Emmons. She got good duties.
I know.
Hey, why not we stay together? Plenty drink. You and me make damn hell, yeah?
Aye. Why not?
Plenty drink, plenty women, plenty fights. Good time, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel, will you please stop telling me what to do?
I'm simply saying that if you give Charlotte that letter, you'll be going directly against Samuel's wishes.
Well, if Samuel hadn't acted so high-handedly in the first
We had
place-
every right. He's a husband.
Aunt Elizabeth, now would you mind telling me what this letter is all about? I imagine you didn't ask me here simply to watch you and Uncle Daniel quarrel.
I've received a letter from William, and in it there's another letter addressed to you, this one.
Well, that's only half the story, Charlotte. It appears that William and Samuel have been in correspondence, and Samuel has expressly forbidden William to contact you.
Well, Samuel made no mention of this.
As I see it, the matter is purely between William and Charlotte.
Elizabeth, the boy is using you to go behind Samuel's back.
If there is a letter that's addressed to me, well, then I think I should read it. Thank you.
My dearest Charlotte, I am shortly returning to Liverpool, and if you can find in your heart some measure of forgiveness, may I ask that I might be allowed to call to see you and our son.
feel so excited.
Calm down.
Our own little villa, just for the two of us. James, we're going in the wrong direction, surely.
Going in the right direction.
Are you sure?
Aye.
James, this is the wrong house.
No, that's the right house.
Before we left, we bought a small villa. It can't have grown. You've bought a different house, haven't you?
Aye.
James, how could you?
Oh, you'll get to like it, Letty. I promise you, you
I
will.
like that little villa.
Well, once you get furniture in here...
Bought a small villa just for the two of us.
But...
There were just 6 rooms, comfortable, easy to manage.
Now, we did agree that I needed a study.
And if you remember, we agreed that one could be built on.
Well, this place has already got one. Saves us the expense. Here, look. It's got a library. Now, t'other place didn't have a library.
Library? You don't read a book from one year to the next.
Well, happen our guests might.
Guests? What guests?
Well, Charlotte, Samuel, the children, the nursemaids. Sarah likes a good
Just
book.
how big is this house, James? How many bedrooms are there? How many?
12.
12?
Some of them are quite small. Letty! Letty! Oh, damn it, woman, is there no pleasing you?